what the hell even happened? It just shows, though, doesn't it? Everyone is beatable.
Dakota, 3-0 in 2021. You know, it's been a busy year for you. 3 fights, 3 first-round finishes, as well a few fights have been canceled throughout the year. What sticks out most to you in the last year, you know, going through everything?
I think I was just really lucky to have a supportive team that are in the gym all year round. I think obviously we never know whether we're fighting with the circumstances that we've just all been through and stuff, but with everyone in the gym always training and all being together, it was like we'd never left. You know, we were always ready to fight, and when it was time to get matched, we were ready to go. So that's the one thing that I'm most grateful for, I would say, is that, you know, I had my whole team around me the whole time supporting each other, so we was always ready.
When I spoke with you during your amateur career, I remember you training at Aspire, and then now you made the switch over to Manchester, or is there a connection there?
No. I mean, we trained a few top team fighters used to come over to Aspire and train with us, and vice versa. But there's no like big connection there or anything. It's just that Aspire's in Liverpool. I'm based in Manchester, so now I'm at Manchester top team. The travel is a lot easier for me. When lockdown came and we weren't really allowed to travel, it was really difficult for me to go so far. And yeah, it's just so much easier for me now being in Manchester, and that's just the direction that I kind of headed, and I'm really happy there now.
Yeah, and it's working, you know, and the record shows it, the performances show it. Who are the coaches there that work with you directly?
At top team, I have Carl Prince. He's my head coach. We have Lofty, we call him, Andrew Lofthouse. And we have Aaron Wilkinson as well, which is the wrestling coach. So we have a mix of everything. And I'm still trained by my mum and my brother at my mum's gym at Northern Spirit. So I've got both of them that kind of work together really well.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of a sparring session with you and your brother. You know, do those ever get really nasty?
No, not really. He is very nice. He never hurts me or anything. We just get heavier. That was just a play spar what I put on there. You know, we do when I'm in camp properly. You know, sometimes we do have a good spar. But I mean, if he wanted to, he could wipe the floor with me, but he never does. So I'm grateful for that. But yeah, we just enjoy training. We've always been like that. It's nothing ever gets too much.
Your first 2 fights, you know, I went back and watched them both, and they were phenomenal performances. Lots of kicks, lots of straight kicks to the face, you know, heavy elbows, some takedowns too. Was the wrestling something that you wanted to go in there in every fight, like get a takedown and take this girl to the ground?
Yeah, definitely. It's always something to say, like, oh, I want to get a takedown this time, or I want to show a bit of groundwork, and it never really ends up happening. But I think as the fights are going on, I'm kind of getting my chance to show a little bit that, you know, I've come from a stand-up background, but I have still learned the trade of MMA and the wrestling and the jiu-jitsu, and I do know what I'm doing, but it's just that I don't get to show myself like that often. No.
Yeah, it looked good because you actually got them somewhat rocked or hurt, and then you went in there and got the takedowns and the spinning elbows. You know what I mean? How hard is it to land a spinning elbow? Because, you know, most people don't understand the difficulty of that.
Yeah, I mean, I think when I fought Kerry Ison, when I threw 2 in a row, I missed the first one, I think, but then the second one landed. So it's not really like something that you can just throw all the time, because you can get caught off it. But I think my experience in Thai boxing that I've brought with me, I just feel like I know my range with elbows and things like that. I know I'm quite comfortable using them, so I feel like that's why it pays off in the MMA as well.
Your most recent performance, your most recent fight, you faced somebody with much more MMA experience, but you still got the first round TKO. Take us through that fight and what you thought about the performance.
Yeah, my last fight I was super happy with, because I got to do a little bit of groundwork, even though it was short again. You know, I got to show a little bit on the floor, a little bit of control. Like I was getting attacked by the heel hooks as well, and I kind of showed that I knew what I was doing kind of on the floor, you know, so that was really good. But that was a last minute opponent change again, which threw things off a little bit. She was meant to be, I think, a brown belt in jiu-jitsu, but I didn't know that until after the fight. My coaches hadn't told me that. They kept it from me, and then when I won at the end, they were like, she was a brown belt as well, you know. So it just shows like the level that you're capable of competing on is really high. So I was really happy. There's still loads to improve on, obviously. I'm still only at the start, but I was happy that I got to show areas that I don't normally do.
If you nitpick, at those 3 performances, what do you see that you did not like about them?
Oh God, I could be here all day.
Really?
Yeah, I am quite critical on myself. I think I'm most critical on my stand-up as well. If I don't feel like I was sharp with my stand-up, because I've had so much experience, I'm quite tough on myself. And before I moved to top team, I'd lost a lot of confidence in my stand-up, I think. But that's because I was working so much jiu-jitsu and wrestling and like a lot of defensive work, because I knew that moving over to MMA, people were going to come and take me down. They would just look at my record straight away and be like, right, get her to the floor. So it was like I was constantly working defense work, and I kind of lost myself a little bit and what I was about. I was worrying too much about what other fighters were going to bring, and I kind of lost that confidence that I had in my stand-up. So I'm quite critical on it now. Like if I'm not, sharp with it, then I'm always like, it's kind of up here. I am sharp with my stand-up, but if I see little areas in my fights where I've not felt too confident with it, then I'm quite critical on that.
When you head into the fights this year, did you see any like defeat in the girls' eyes when you faced off with them ahead of the fight? Because you do have a very decorated background in striking.
Yeah, definitely. I do definitely. Yeah, I think no, to be honest, my last fight that I had, she looked quite confident. I never really read too much into it. I don't think you can always tell. A lot of people used to tell me that I was really, really nervous. And like when I was warming up, they used to say like, are you okay? Like, you look really nervous. When actually I'm fine. It's just that my emotions are just obviously showing a little bit different. I'm obviously nervous, but I'm coping with it fine. And when I get in, you see that I'm fine. But I think people show emotion on the face differently. So I never really read too much into that.
Now you're kicking off 2022 in Canada, of all places. How did you connect with Palace Athena?
Yeah, so from my Thai career, I know a Thai boxing coach that now lives in Canada called Kieran Keddle. He contacted me and asked if I was up for fighting in January. He's got the connection with that show, so I was like, yeah, of course. Like, Canada's somewhere I'd always wanted to go, and I'd love to fight over there. And the fact that it was an all-girls show as well was like really appealing to me. Like, it's the first time I've really ever heard that, so I was definitely up for doing that. And yeah, now my flights are booked and I'll be on my way soon.
Yeah, definitely. And and it's a historic moment too, because it's their first show ever, so your name will always be etched in that.
Yeah, definitely. It's a massive opportunity, 100%. Yeah, and I think I'm fighting for a belt as well, if I'm not mistaken. So that'll be quite a big thing as well. Co-main event, another big opportunity. So I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of eyes, especially with the main event and Sarah Kaufman, who is a pioneer in women's MMA. So you get a chance to kind of open the show for her and let her do her thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm very lucky. I count myself lucky, that's for sure.
Now, your opponent, Tanya Nijjar, she hasn't competed in MMA since 2015. What have you gotten to research about her?
Do you know, it's funny because we've been having this conversation with my coaches this week that there isn't really anything on her. Like, I don't really look into it anyway. I normally leave my coaches to it, but there isn't much on her. Like, if a Tapology page is right and she hasn't competed for that long, and then there's nothing really to look at. We don't really know a style. We don't know, what she's best at, what she's weakest at. Like, it's gonna be yeah, it'll be a good fight because I don't really know that much about it and the coaches don't. So it'll basically just be how I've prepared and how I've trained for it, and just to go over and expect a tough fight, I think.
Does the mystery put more excitement into the fight?
Yeah, I think it does. It gives me a little bit more nerves as well. It's like more of the unexpected. Like, normally I rely on the coaches saying, right, let's work on this, and then I can kind of gauge what they're like. But we don't even have that this time. So they're a little bit like, have you seen a fight? I said, no. Have you seen a fight? Like, we're like this. We're questioning each other. But yeah, it doesn't faze us. We're just going to work my game. Like I said, I think the main thing is that I concentrate on what I can bring to the table rather than what they're going to come with.
What do you think? What do you see in this performance? There's a mystery to your opponent and everything, but You've had first round finishes every time. Is that what's gonna happen now? It's like I need to continue this streak.
I mean, I would love to, but I never put that pressure on myself. I always think like I have to prepare for that five rounds, and especially like this time, I can't go in thinking it's going to finish early and then have 5-minute rounds, because that's a long time to not be prepared for. I think in Thai boxing the 3-minute rounds is a little bit easier, but 5 minutes is a whole different ball game. So I'm going to go over and be prepared for a tough fight, and yeah, just see how that goes, really.
And how many fights are you planning to have, this year, or not this year, in 2022?
I'm looking to stay busy. I think obviously my goal is the UFC, but before then I want to really get some tough fights in and some testing moments in my career, before I hit that level, so that I'm prepared when I get there. So hopefully I'm looking for a busy 2022, but we'll just see how it goes. I've got a few opportunities that have come up that might bring me that. So hopefully I'll get quite a few fights in.
And where do you want to be at the end of 2022?
Unbeaten is my goal. I want to be unbeaten, and I just want to look back at the year and just think how much I've progressed, and just to be able to say like I'm ready now. Like I was ready before, but now I'm ready. Like I've had that experience that I need, and I'm ready to show it on a different level now.
All right, now one last question. Juliana Pena choking out Amanda Nunes and getting that bantamweight title, was that the biggest upset in UFC history in your eyes?
I mean, it's one of the biggest, isn't it? Like everybody I spoke to was just like, oh my goodness. Even I was so shocked. I was meant to stay up and watch it, and I fell asleep. And then when I got up in the morning, I couldn't even I was like, no way. Like, what the hell even happened? It just shows though, doesn't it? Everyone is beatable. And that's the top and bottom of it. Like you can be the top for so long, but there's someone out there that's you got to stay top of your game, because there's always someone that's that little bit bigger and better.
Yeah, and they just need to show up that night to beat whoever it is, right? And also, being a fan of MMA in the UK, or the UFC fan in the UK, it must be tough, right? Because of the hours that they have the shows.
Yeah, it's so frustrating. Like we have to stay up all night. It's really hard, and we're like watching some of the fights and we're falling asleep and waking back up, and we're like, or sometimes we go to sleep and we set our alarms for the fights and hope that we've woke up at the right time. But I suppose if you love it, you'll do it, and most people do in this country. They do stay up for it.
Definitely. Well, hopefully, 2022 works out well for you, and then 2023, you never know what's going to happen. London, UFC, all of that is open for you. Thank you so much. January 15th, everybody needs to tune in to Palace Athena Women's FC 1, the inaugural event. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for speaking to me, and Happy New Year as well.